Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about solving inequalities with parentheses and like terms. So this is a review again of solving equations, but just wanted to make sure that we had full understanding of what we're doing, and also remembering to flip your inequality sign anytime you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number. So again, if you have parentheses in your problem, the first thing you want to do is distribute. And the second thing you want to do is combine like terms on each side. So these first two steps are steps you do on each side respectively. Then after that, in order to solve it, whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other side to keep the inequality balanced. Okay? So step 3, I have solved the two-step inequality because we covered that in detail. But in the future, you might have to get variables on the same side. So let's look at some examples. So for our first example, we have 3 plus 7 times the quantity, x minus 4, is less than or equal to 10. So remember, our first step is actually to distribute. We don't want to add the 3 plus 7. Multiplication takes priority. So we're just going to bring down the 3. And when we distribute the positive 7, we get positive 7x. And positive 7 times a negative 4 is negative 28. Rewrite the problem. And now in our second step, we combine like terms. So combining like terms, we just look on each side of the inequality. I like to draw a line. I think it's a great idea for you guys to draw a line through your inequality to separate your two sides. So on the left-hand side, we have a positive 3 and a negative 28. When we add those together, we get negative 25. And then we bring down the positive 7x, okay? So once you combine like terms, if it helps you to cross them off, you can do that, especially for your larger problems where you have multiple like terms. Multiple sets of like terms on a certain side. And by the way, you don't have to put the minus 25 second. You could have wrote negative 25 plus 7x there, and that would be the same thing. So it's less than or equal to 10. So the signs in front have to be the same, but you could have switched the order there in terms of the positive 7x and the negative 25. And now we just finished solving it. So we add 25 to both sides. It's a two-step inequality. So we have 7x is less than or equal to 35. Divide both sides by 7. X is less than or equal to 5. We don't have to worry about flipping the inequality sign because we didn't divide by a negative. So for our graph, put at least 5 integers on there. But it'll be a closed circle on positive 5 and shade to the left because we want numbers less than or equal to 5. So for our second example, we have 5x minus 4 times the quantity 3 plus 2x is greater than 12. So again, we distribute first. So we bring down the 5x because that's not being distributed to or not in parentheses. Negative 4 times a positive 3 is negative 12. Negative 4 times a positive 2x is a negative 8x. Now we look to combine like terms. So we have 5x and negative 8x. Those are both on the left-hand side. Those add up to be negative 3x. Rewrite the rest of your problem. So combine these. We got negative 3x, right? And we brought down the negative 12 on the left and brought down the positive 12 on the right. And now we just solved the two-step inequality. Add 12 to both sides to isolate the negative 3x. Divide both sides by negative 3. And you get x is less than negative 8. Got to flip the inequality sign because we divided by negative 3. Remember, if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, got to flip your inequality sign. So I'm actually going to put negative 8 in the middle just to save some time. And remember, if you put your solution value that lies on in the middle, put two numbers larger than the solution value to the right, and two numbers smaller than the solution value to the left, okay? So you can do that, You can do that. So I put an open circle on negative 8, and I want numbers x is less than negative 8, so numbers less than negative 8 would be this way, to the left, okay? Okay, so here's our last example. We have 25 is greater than or equal to 2 times the quantity x minus 4 minus 9 times the quantity 2x minus 7. So on the left-hand side, we just have a number. So just bring that down. And we got to distribute twice here. So multiplication, right? 2x minus 8 minus 18x plus 63. Negative 9 times negative 7 is positive 63. Now we combine like terms on the right-hand side, because that's where we have like terms. So we have 2x and negative 18x. I get negative 16x. Now, by the way, I could have added the numbers together first. It does not matter. Usually I think it's easier for most students to combine the variable terms first, but it doesn't matter what order you combine them in. And then we have a negative 8 and a positive 63. When we add those up, we're going to subtract, actually, right? Keep the sign of the bigger number. Positive 55. Okay. So we bring down the 25. And now we have to isolate the negative 16x. So since it's a positive 55, we're going to subtract 55 from both sides. Okay. So 25 minus 55 is actually negative 30. And this is why it's so important to write out your steps, because not every problem, guys, works out to be an integer. Sometimes you're going to have answers that work out to be fractions. And remember, in mathematics, we like exact answers. That's why we leave them as fractions and not rounded decimals. There was one section where we use rounded decimals for the unit conversions and proportions, but most of the time in higher level mathematics, we want exact answers. So to finish this off, we divide both sides by negative 16. So there's a lot going on here. First, let's kind of rewrite what we have. So I'm not going to do the simplifying right now. I'm just going to write, I do know a negative divided by a negative is positive, that square I just put. So I'm going to do positive 30 over positive 16. Going left to right, we would flip this inequality sign because we divided by a negative number, right? And now I could rewrite it, but that's not the final answer. We got to simplify that 30 over 16, right? So looking at that, we could try 2, and I think that's going to be it, and 2 is the biggest, right? They're both even numbers, so we have to divide them both by 2. 30 divided by 2 is going to be 15, right? And 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8. So our final answer is going to be 15 over 8. Okay, so x is greater than or equal to 15 over 8, I should say, is the final answer. We do have to graph that. Now, even though we like the exact answer as a fraction, you got to know where that lies. So just type 15 divided by 8 in your calculator, and that's going to be very, very close to 2. It's about 1.8, about 1.8 something, right? So you don't have to be too exact with that, but it's going to be between 1 and 2. So it's going to be a lot closer to 2 because it's about 1.8. So a closed circle right there. We want values greater than it, so we shade to the right. Okay? So thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully you found this video lesson helpful. I apologize for the dogs barking in the background. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a fantastic day, everybody.